Yeah, I was pleased with our effort tonight. Challenged the guys a little bit in terms of, 3 key phases of the game, the rebounding, the guarding their dribble penetration, and us moving the ball and taking care of the ball and making some plays for each other. On the rebounding, I thought we did average, not as good as we're going to need to do. It ended up 38-38, but I think we probably out-rebounded them by 4 or 5 in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game. So, but we did hold them to 13 offensive rebounds on, 40-some misses. So that was, pretty good. I thought we did a much better job of guarding the dribble in the second half, and I thought we did a tremendous job of moving the ball. 20 assists with 29 baskets, with only 8 turnovers. I said one of the keys for this team is our assist-to-turnover ratio. And we're getting much better at that. We have our big guys are very good passers. Daniel had 2 assists with no turnovers. Robert had an assist. That helps. So we're getting better, and those 3 areas were big. Fordham had won 2 out of the last 3 games since Gaston returned. I think they're a dangerous team with Frazier and Gaston. And I thought in the second half, during that 10-minute stretch, we might have played as well as we've played all year long. So that was a good sign after 4 days. And now this is a big week coming up. We got to keep getting better.
Seems like on the board you got off to a little bit of a slow start, and that's where they got most of their offensive rebounds.
Yeah, I think they had probably 5 or 6 in the first 8 minutes of the game. And so I think we held them to 1 or 2 in the last 13 some minutes, and that was why we were able to get a 10-point lead. We held them to 28% from the field, so our first shot defense is good. The one thing that, obviously Daniel brings to us, we are big around the basket, and teams have a hard time finishing, but we need to continue to get better at, collecting those first shots, because the other thing that happens is we're able to get out on the break. We had 16 fast break points today. If we can defensive rebound a little bit better, we can get that into the 20s. And when you're in 20s on that and you're sharing the ball, now you're scoring in the high 70s or 80s overall, and we're going to be tough to beat if we can get to that number.
The bench seemed to do a better job picking up the scoring in the second half than they did in the first half.
Yeah, we talked, Fordham's a pretty deep team. I think that's one of our strengths, and we talked to, before the game about our guys off the bench need to give us a big lift, and they need to increase the energy level. We got some guys that came off the bench and had their motor running a little bit today, and that was a big lift, especially in the second half.
You talked about doing a good job moving the ball. It seems like you had that knack tonight of finding the open guy on the weak side.
We look, they switch between man and zone, but our principles don't change. We get the ball. We want to go inside. We want to get the ball, what we call a paint touch, where the ball gets into the paint. And you got to play from there. And as I said, our big guys are unselfish. Our guards move better, and we were able to attack. The one thing, again, whenever we attacked off the dribble, we had guys getting into position to be, able to catch passes. Daniel had a couple nice drop-offs where he was able to finish. I think that's an area we need to continue to improve in.
Could you tell there wasn't going to be any kind of a post-Christmas letdown?
Well, I've been on them pretty good since Christmas. We lost to Fordham last year. It was a bad game. And I kind of let the guys remember that the last 3 or 4 days, and reminded them of that. But this is a different team, and I got the sense that I didn't need to push it too hard. Daniel's been through a lot, Mufan's been through a lot, Pierre's been through a lot, Cam's been through a lot, and you have to rely on those upperclassmen. To make sure everybody's ready to go and to take care of their business, And the holidays are a great time, but, we still have a job to get done. And one of the key things is to improve. And I thought our practices over the last 4 days have been very, very good. Very good. And, you know, I liked what I saw in practice, and I still think we can keep getting better. I'm not, you know, nobody's satisfied, and we're not where we were yesterday, but I think tomorrow we can get even better, so we got to get to work.
Probably just being more aggressive, doing what I can do, and knowing I know I can do it. Just getting the confidence to just go up strong with the ball. It's getting better. I've been working with Coach Schmidt a lot in practice. Playing with Cam Holsey every day definitely helps.
Is that mainly on the offensive end?
Yes, sir. Just attacking him, you know, he's strong and physical. Going at him every day helps.
Talk a little bit about Gaston and what kind of opponent he was for you tonight.
He's real crafty. He knows. He's a really good ball player, and he's going to get his hand on a lot of balls, and he's a good finisher around the rim. Tonight, I think he got in foul trouble early, so that kind of helped us a little bit. But I didn't get to guard him much, but I thought Rob and Julian did a good job.
How about the sky hook?
Finally went in.
It's an undefendable move. He's been working on it, and he unleashed it tonight.
Finally.
All right. Thanks, guys.